Hey there, hey there. All right. Thanks, everyone. We're going to get started real soon. Hey, let's see if Jamal's on. Yes, yeah. Oops. All right, here we go. Hey, what's going on? Okay, a little technical difficulty here just for a moment. Jamal, if you're here, you have to sign me co-host. Okay.
Did you
Yeah.
just say something?
'Cause, yeah, I'm not able to share.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on, Nicholas?
Oops. Wrong thing.
Hmm. All right, there we go. Few more people are going to join in, but welcome everyone. Welcome again to our new month game plan. Every single time we go about this is about making sure you have the tools, that you have all of the opportunities pointed out, some of the ones that we find, as well as how you understand how we're finding opportunities, how we're setting our planning up for the upcoming month to be successful for us. And what we seek to really pull away from the types of setups that we find, a lot of the conversation that we can have here to answer your questions as well, and that this becomes this collaborative session that truly becomes, most valuable to you. So we have a few more people pulling in. Um, so just gonna wait for a moment till Jamal returns back. But we're gonna be narrowing down the scope here. All right, how's everyone here today? Press one if you can hear me. Press one. Okie doke, okie doke. Still working through a few things here. Press one. All right. Good to see everyone. See lots of great familiar faces here. Right. Just making sure we have everything together. Okie doke. So here I'm just gonna share screen for a bit and bear with me, fam. I'm fighting a bit of a migraine, but we are here. We are here. And we had an exciting first day of March. So we're gonna see what else we can pull away from this. So what we're going to be doing, and also know that this meeting is being recorded. This will be available to you if there's any given part of this session you want to come back to. We will also post a summary of some of the developments that we went over and what we can find here from this session and ongoing. So the goal of this meeting is to gain a clear monthly blueprint. All right. Is to understand the broader market context and key price levels so you can navigate the upcoming weeks with confidence. All right. That we're going to point out just a few setups out of many, and there may be some that come even after our session. But it's obviously impossible to take note of every single opportunity out there, right? We're just going to outline a bit of the process here and then show you some interesting, contenders that we stumbled upon. It's to identify major chart patterns and trends. That's a big part. Even on the next slide, I'm going to tell you, exactly what time frames and chart patterns you should be looking at and looking for, and then to refine your strategy. All right. We're going to talk a few tips about how to improve your charting approach, what you can consider as you are looking at, the chart and the opportunity, and how we can put this into practice immediately. All right. So, with that, I just want to touch base on at least what we covered in January, right? In January for our 2026 playbook, we had noted on the opportunity for valuations to start to come down, right? Throughout January and February, we kind of traded sideways for the most part. We've had major drops and we've had major bounces to almost all-time highs and then right back down, having some corrections as well as obviously some of the news that is surrounding this previous weekend. However, the market's still being up regardless, but as so far as to start March, we started with a gap down, right? And as valuations have been hovering around their highs, there's quite a bit of sense that we are still waiting and seeking for a bit more of a correction that is very possible. And some of the time frames are going to show you that as well. We're going to have some bullish setups. We're going to have some bearish setups overall. So that's what we're going to look into and see on the horizon as we get through some of the setups today. Um, Jamal, you want to cover a few earnings that we have on the horizon?
Um, sure. So there's a big picture there of all of the earnings, but it's actually clickable so we can kind of get a more in-depth view on what's going on. Let me see. So yeah, what the stuff. Let me see if I can pull it up on mine because I can barely see what's going on. But as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that is going on, especially this week. I believe we have Costco's coming up this week, as well as Marvel and I believe Target. So Earnings this week include ASTS, which was today, Big Bear BI, Target, GitLab, On Holdings, that's the shoemaker, Best Buy, Kroger's, Costco's, Gap, Wix. And then coming up next week, it looks like we have HPE, SBETS, Neo, Kohl's coming next week. Also have let's see, Path, Campbell's Soup, Adobe, Ulta Beauty, Dick's Sporting Goods, Dollar General, it looks like, Macy's, Oracle, Alibaba. These are just some things that are jumping out at me. That's all in 2 weeks. And then in 3 weeks, the third week of the month, it looks like we have DocuSign coming up, TME, that's a Tencent music group, MU, Micron Technology, Five Below,
It's a big one.
Gen General Mills, FedEx, PDD, Lunar. That's all on the third week. And then the fourth week, it looks like we have GameStop. Everybody loves GameStop. AT&T, Chewy,
Okay, hello.
Oklo.
Yep,
Oh, I don't even see that one.
that's
But
gonna be important for AI stocks.
yeah, Jinko Solar, Lululemon, Bitfarms, BTF, BITF. And that's all on the fourth week. And then on the fifth week, that's actually takes us into August. It looks
April.
like, I'm sorry, April. We have Nike coming up.
And that's just about it.
Yep. And that's pretty much leads us into April with
Yeah,
Exxon.
yeah, we have a bit of a holiday because of Easter around that time.
Yeah. So a bunch of things to look at, a bunch of things to watch out for, a couple of, all-stars in there, MVPs. Just take note, Target, Path,
Lots of consumer staples.
yeah, a bit of AI, Oracle,
Yeah, like
Marvell coming up at towards the end of this week. So you just
yeah,
want to be mindful.
like someone said, Micron, when it does happen on the 18th, that will be one of the biggest ones because memory serves to be one of the biggest things in the whole AI conundrum, right? There's memory, there's data centers, there's storage and process power, right? So Micron is has gotten a huge surge, and there's big expectations for what they're going to deliver on because their revenue ex estimate for this quarter is actually much, much, much larger than all of the previous ones from the past 3 years. So MU has a lot at stake. So that's going to be something big that we look out for sure. And Nike's chart looks interesting as well, generally. And so just making sure we can all still see the screen. All right. So the crucial time frames that you all want to take and pay attention to, it may seem obvious to watch the monthly, um, but one of the main things that not everyone talks about is to watch the 2 month. All right. So we can split up the year into a bunch of 2 month, um, you know, you can cut it up into 6 2 months, right? Similar how we split the year up into 4 quarters. Um, and so when February ends, that's the start of a new 2 month. When May starts, there's going to be another one, right? And then when July starts, another one. So a 2 month chart in that time frame can look a little interesting for a few stocks that we encounter throughout the market this month. And I'm going to show you at least two of them that I think are, very interesting. And then also be mindful of the quarter. A lot of us in our community trade using the LVL or the outside candle setup, right? If you are finding reversals happening and starting to form opportunities that will be valuable once April eventually does come, or that have started already and can last as long as March, right? So anything that has a quarterly setup has 31 days of opportunity left until we start a new quarter in April, right? But that 2 month will be very interesting. You can find some interesting patterns when you look at the 2 month. But the monthly obviously is going to provide us quite a lot of things. And we're going to actually cover that on one of these slides. This slide, actually. And so from using AutoStratic, um, so AutoStratic has and it gives us a bit of a rundown of what are some overall useful things to be looking at, right? You guys can feel free to take a screenshot of this page. For on the monthly time frame, we have narrowed this down at least to about 8 tickers. And so Apple, one of them, even though again Apple had a bit of a green day, but Apple, JP Morgan, having some very bearish setups. Um, and Coinbase is looking for a bounce. Coinbase actually had today, in today's trading session, because Bitcoin had a really big opportunity and just ran. Coinbase actually is pushing up higher itself. And that was one trade opportunity I actually saw today. But Coinbase it's only the start of the month. It's only been one trading day, right? And then XYZ, which is really coming off of some major news because they laid off half of their entire workforce. 4,000 people all at once laid off, and that shot their stock up significantly. And so if they are able to benefit from that just to the upside and then continue on there and find a breaker that pushes them even higher because of this bullish setup, that could be something we find in place there. And then one of the early opportunities, as you know, we already have one trading day in the bag now here, is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is pushing higher, um, after today, and it also had an LVL on the daily, I believe. And then we have Upstart as well, right? So to dive into some of the setups that we're seeing, and I'm going to demonstrate the 2 month a little bit here. AMD. And so AMD has been trading in an upwards trend for sure, and has had quite a very bullish end to last year. The second half of last year was very bullish for AMD. Um, and we had been trading along here, making higher highs which formed a Brownian formation, which is what this extended line is. That creates a boundary for us for what we're trading within. And so because, let's say we're rejecting off of the top of a Brownian formation, this is spelling that there is an opportunity for some pullback here for AMD. This is using the 2 month chart. So January and February combined saw AMD hitting a previous high and making a lower high, actually, lower than this all-time high that it found last year. It hit a previous high and then reversed all the way back down by about $60 in January and February. And now this candle that's right here, this green one, is how we started today. And we actually hit the low of the previous 2 months. And so that is, of course, giving the opportunity for a bounce made for very easy calls today. But because we have about 61 days of this time frame, we can very easily come back and re-trigger to the downside. If we do re-trigger back to the downside or we go red on the month in March, this could hit this shooter, right? This clear shooter, and we expand and fall back down, possibly another $30 for a correction down to, where we opened back, I think, in October or so. So that could be something on the horizon there. Sorry, not October, it's probably August. That's right there. Um, And so that's one thing that I see as a possible big correction for AMD. I don't like to necessarily, yes, this is the 2 month chart, Nicholas. I don't like to count semiconductors out. I just think that because of everything going on, as well as what the chart is showing, that a correction is certainly very more possible than you would expect, right? Additionally, so now this is the weekly chart. So this is a different stock now, UUUU. All right. This has an inside month. Okay. Its previous month was an inside month, and now it's currently an inside month because we're the very first trading day of this month. We haven't really triggered anything. But UUUU is a bit underrated because not everyone is necessarily focused on nuclear energy, uranium, so on and so forth. Because we're very much focused on the indices because of the news we're dealing with, what we're navigating, and more, um, as well as what we're counting here with our big tech firms and semiconductors and just whatever, and oil, of course. But with these nuclear energies, these are coming. I wouldn't say coming back in the conversation. They've always been part of the conversation, but with these AI stocks. The government, at least the United States government, actually said that, hey, OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, or Google, all of these AI makers, they said we're not going to subsidize your electricity costs. All right. We're not going to subsidize your electricity costs or the energy costs that you have. We can subsidize you in other ways if you're a defense contractor, and that's what that whole controversy over this past weekend, if anyone saw, between Anthropic and the president, U.S. government, because a lot of AI companies do defense contracting because they use AI in their weapons and defense mechanisms, whatever, right? However you feel about that. But they don't subsidize their actual bill for, how much power that they're going to be using. So they're going to have to seek alternative areas of power, and there's going to be some benefit in these, some stocks like UUUU. Another one is OKLO, which has earnings later this month. And so, what we see on the chart, it has, what some would recognize as a giant cup and handle, right? Where we have a big swoop like that, and we find the handle like so, right? Um, because it has an inside month, I see an opportunity that if it breaks the high of the previous month, that can push it to um, previous levels like 27. We're currently trading at 23. That would be at least a 15 to 20% increase of the stock from current levels. But then on the weekly chart, it just seems as though we have found a reversal, breaking a high of a previous week, and then possibly breaking another high of a previous week with higher lows, which forms an uptrend, right? We can see if we have higher highs and higher lows, the uptrend gets formed. So this could push back to these 52-week highs, and that could be very useful for this stock UUUU. All right. So Jamal, I'm going to pass the baton over to you. Um, and Jamal has a few tickers he wants to get busy with in March. All right. And then also we're going to take some feedback and you know what you guys are watching if there's anything you want to review. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. So let's look at what I'm looking at here. Let me share my screen again. And so one thing that I've grown to love or to like is IWM. And so going into this month, you can kind of see on the screen here, IWM has this inside month set up here. And so what I've done is I've actually used kind of the basis of a levels setup, which it does not have, just to get some levels of potential entry on this inside candle. As you can see, the entry would potentially be above 263.33. That's when we would be bullish. I think it's dangerously close to that level as of right now. Looking to take this to the previous month's high around 268. But on the downside, if we can't hold above where it is now, we could potentially try to take out the downside because again, this is an inside candle which could break either side of its range. Looking to see if it does hold above that level or if we fall underneath 259.82, we could become quite bullish to try to take out the previous candles or the previous month's low at around 255. So IWM is a really risk off type of always get it wrong, but IWM is a pretty bullish stock. So when the market is not fearful, that's when they go heavy into IWM and IWM small cap like stocks. So I definitely want to keep this on watch because if the market gets really bearish, then this will get hit up the worst. And if the market gets really bullish, then this will get also hit up or brought up the most as well. So IWM is going to be a main staple in my watch list and something that I'm continuously watching as we try to get back to all-time highs on IWM. Marvell, they also have earnings this week, but what I also saw on Marvell was a bullish fail to down on the month. As we enter into this month now, we want to see if it can trigger the fail to down into a two up over 83.78. And then our next target for me would be the opening of the previous month would be TP1. They're at 86.75-ish. And then the high of the previous, well, not the previous month, but the month before, 2 months ago, the high of that candle would be 94.20-ish. Again, using the levels theme for a downside move, if we break or can't hold above 78.94, if we break down below 78.94, then I'm looking for it to potentially take out the TP1 there of 76.20-ish, and then maybe potentially go the full range down to 70.69 on Marvell. I'm generally bullish on this, but if this goes up, then we have a scenario that we can use to make money. And if this goes down, we also have a scenario we can use to make money on Marvell. XLY was also on the autostratic list that we showed earlier, but XLY has a similar setup to Marvell with that XYZ, I'm sorry, not XLY. XYZ has a similar setup to Marvell on the month with that fail to down hammer candle. So with that, we also want to see it trigger and hold above 66.12, which is the high of the previous month. And then we want to see that target this high here around 72.22. And then the same thing, we have a potential levels theme set up to the downside. If we break below 58.93, we could potentially target TP2 there at TP1, I'm sorry, at 55.95-ish. And then if it wants to go the full Monty, it's off screen here, but you can't see it. But the full Monty or the TP2 will be 48.21, which is the bottom of the previous month's candle this month here. The bottom of that candle being 48.21 would be the TP2 on XYZ. Next, we have Roku. The string kind of looks a little bit colorful, but Roku also has a fail to down on the month. If you don't know me, I love these fail to candles, whether it's a fail to up or a fail to down. So this fail to down could be considered as bullish because what it is that there's a big wick on Roku where the buyers seemingly brought Roku back up from a dangerous low, and the buyers then brought it back up to where it is now. So if we could actually look and see the actual chart of Roku, we could see the whole picture here. Does everyone see my chart? I just switched over to the actual chart. Give me a one in the chat if you can see the chart. Okay. So this is Roku on the monthly here with that fail to down setup. Again, I have a levels theme set up to the upside as well as to the downside. And what we're looking for is Roku to hold above two different levels. So we have this level that will be triggered by breaking the top of the actual fail to down, going two up above 98.42. That's this level here. And then we also have a levels theme set up where Roku would break past the 20% level, excuse me, above $100 even. And then our TP1, TP2, and TP3. TP1 would be 50% of that range of the levels theme setup, which would be 105.45. TP2 will be the opening of the previous candle before the hammer setup or the fail to down, which would be 109.16. And then TP3 would be the full range of this candle, breaking the high of the previous candle before the actionable fail to down, the high of that candle being 116.33. So that's if Roku breaks those levels to the upside. If Roku manages to fall to the downside, then again, we have the similar level setup theme here, breaking below 93.48. Breaking below 93.48 could potentially see the 50% of that range, which is 88.50 TP1. And then going the full range, breaking the low of the previous month's candle would be 78.53 on Roku. If it goes up, we have levels. If it goes down, we have levels to achieve on Roku. And then I think last but not least, we have a curveball here with Starbucks. So Starbucks, as you can see, has an inside month, but what it also has is this potential double bottom W there, seen on the monthly that could potentially be bullish as well. So let's take a look, a closer look at Starbucks so we can actually see this double bottom here. And so Starbucks is, as you can see, kind of has that W. Let's see if we can trace it. Let's see if we can trace it. So the W kind of goes from here to this point, to this point, to that point. And so what we have is this inside candle created here. And what we want to see is a potential break of that inside candle to the upside, breaking this entry for the double bottom here. That will be the double bottom entry. and the most aggressive entry, instead of waiting for the break of the inside candle, if we wait for the break, this one first, above 98.89, then we could actually be using the top of the inside candle as a potential target point there at 101.20. And then the full range, to my recollection of the W, will be hitting this swing high here at 104.82, which will put you out of the trade before it gets into an area of resistance, as noticed by this order block here seen on the monthly, which could act as resistance. So again, to the upside, breaking the valley of the W here at 98.89 would be an entry. TP1 would be triggering the inside candle on the month there at 101.20. And then TP2 will be hitting the swing high created there on the monthly at 104.82. Again, we have a levels theme set up to the downside. If Starbucks breaks below 96.17, then we have a potential downside motion where our TP1 would be 94.32, and then our TP2 would be going two down on the month below 90.62 on Starbucks. So if Starbucks goes up, we have levels to achieve to the upside, and if Starbucks goes down, we also have levels to achieve to the upside, to the downside. All right. And so I also just wanted to draw your attention to the levels since I've been talking about it so much. The levels is an easy assistant used to plot out reversals. What the levels does is it actually hunts for failed two ups and failed two downs while they're being created. Um, and then it hopefully gives you levels to where it could potentially turn into from a failed two candle into a three. And so this is a very useful tool to use. And in fact, we'll be using it in our next level up challenge that I also wanted to talk about before we left. But I'll do that later. Does anyone have any questions or any tickers that they were looking at on the monthly chart that you maybe wanted us to glance at? Can we take a look at AMPX small cap drone battery play during the levels on November 2025? Earnings on Thursday morning. Um, yeah, we can take a look at that. It looks like I've looked at this stock before. I don't quite remember, but what I see on the month is a big potential cup with a handle, it looks like. So looking something like this. So your cup kind of looks like this. There's your cup, and then there's a sliver of a handle, kind of like that. A little bit crude of a drawing, but kind of something like that, where your cup, and then you have your handle. So this is generally a bullish move. Where originally, before we had this handle, the entry will be above that 1255, this line here. But since we have this handle, I would put it more towards the high of the handle. Maybe even aggressive entry above 1409. But you have two entries right there off of that bullish cup and handle to potentially take it back to all-time highs. This is a relatively new stock. Take it back towards all-time highs at $26, towards $26. With time, of course, because we see this setup on the month, so this would definitely take a while to fulfill. But above 1255 and then even more bullish above 1409 on this cup on AMPX. So in order to oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can come off the microphone. So this is what I was looking at. I just had it down at the bottom. I forget that I have multiple screens. So the cup and handle appears like so. Uh there's your cup and then there's the handle. And so before this handle was created, I set the entry on the cup above 1255, which is this level here. And then we created the handle. So I put the secondary entry above the high, towards the highs of the handle. They're at 1409. And then, like I was saying, once it potentially breaks those levels, we could be headed back towards the all-time high here at 26-ish. This is a relatively young stock, 2022. So if they put out good numbers, I think earnings, someone said that the earnings is Thursday. So if they put out good numbers, it could potentially get some fuel. Do 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 do. AMPX there. Let's see. Why that's not working. All right. So what else we got? I saw a lot of tickers, but in order to kind of expedite your ticket, can you just at least put the setup that you see? Because I'm not even sure if these have, setups. We're looking for setups on the month. Um, do 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 do. Because some of these I've actually looked at and I didn't see a setup like Ford, Hood. Those are in my watch list. I didn't really see any setup when I ran through them. Hood with a potential two down on the month, and inside 2 month. Okay. I guess we could take a look at Hood. I was looking for something. So it does have a inside month right now, but that's this month. So what we're looking for is the previous actionable signal in the previous month because a lot of candles this month are going to open up inside because most of the times they open up inside of the range of the previous candle. If this candle closes here, then the next candle is probably most likely going to close right where open right where it closed at. In this case, it looks like Hood dumped a little bit, but it's still inside of the range of this candle. So most candles this month, uh, March, which just started today, are going to be inside. Um, so on the 2 month though, so this is currently still active, so we can't necessarily, it's an inside candle as of right now. It still has a month and 28 days to go because it's a new 2 month, January, February, March, April. So March, April is a new 2 month candle. So we're really be looking at this 2-2 continuation to the downside. It's not really necessarily a actionable signal from the 2-2 continuation to the downside here on Hood on the 2 month, the month. The 2 week, we could say if that just started this candle here. Looks like it has 10 days left. This failed to down candle here could potentially want to see it break and hold above 78.57 to confirm this failed to down to up to reversal back to the upside. Could potentially take out those targets there on the screen. It looks like I want to say 50% of this range right around like here or where this line is 84, let's say 50-ish. TP1, and then the top of this candle 95.75 could be TP2. But that's really the only setup I see on hood is on this 2 week or lower, with the fail two down on the 2 week into a potential 2-2 reversal to the upside. UAL was mentioned this morning. And so we got a shooter gap down on the month here. So this is the shooter from last month, February. Want to see, I mean, and what it was is that it was already triggered. UAL already triggered on the month. So basically the next level will see a re-trigger to the downside below 100. And then potentially try to take out these targets to the downside if we hold the below 100. But it took out the liquidity at this level here and then came back up. So we want to see it break back down below that $100.66 level to try to take out 94 and 88.50 ish on UAL and definitely stay below this downtrend level here. Crafty, Crafty did kind of um it's just so beat up. So on the month it looks terrible. 3 month we currently have a failed to down. It looks like it's trying to do. It has a whole month to complete this 3 month trigger right here. So what I was telling people this earlier this month, especially if you see these on the higher time frames, it's no point in trying to catch a falling knife and trying to be the first person into a stock reversal. This thing has been getting clapped um for years. Um, Unfortunately, each one of these candles is 3 months, 3 month, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 months of downtrend. So let's see if this can go up for at least 6 months before we, jump in on this and try to be the first person into this trade. You don't have to be the first person into a trade to make money. So let this do a little bit more before you give it your attention and your money. And what I mean by that is at least setting up the fail two down here on the 3 month as we can see, and then closing and then breaking above that close in order to, at least give us an actionable signal to the upside before we try to, jump the gun on this and it could potentially keep falling. At least that's what I see on the 3 month there. Two- Yeah, even on the 2 month, I mean, we have this fail two down candle here. We'll wait for the trigger above 25.20 to at least confirm more stronger bullish uptrend. Could it be 2 month on UAL? I don't know what you mean. I'm not quite sure what you mean by could it be 2 month on UAL? Um, it's a fail to up on UAL on the 2 month. Potentially would trigger to the downside if we hold below that $100.66. That will confirm the fail to up into a two down, 2-2 reversal to the downside. He's just talking about the levels to the upside. Yeah, I mean that could potentially be a levels to the upside as well. Above 105, 47-ish could trigger a 2 month levels to the upside. Um, let's move this down to over here. Two up on the month for time frame continuity. You Amy. This is that rare materials. This is rare earths materials. So it looks like we had an inside candle breakout to go two up on the month. The target would be 1197. It's already triggered. Today it looks like it triggered today with all of that news with the war and stuff. So that triggered today. So hopefully, I mean, the entry was then. Uh, Target point 1197. If you're taking that from the monthly trigger. Do 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 do. Ooh, good. Yep. Lily fell two down on previous month slash potential target $100 from current level. Lulu Lily. Did I say Lulu? Do 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 do. Ooh, good. Lily is in a range on the month. You can see it a little bit more clearly on the week. It's just stuck. And then there on the day, you can see it really clearly. It's just stuck. If we take the most extreme high and the low, it's just stuck in the box like that. If we get it tighter to where price action is now, it's stuck in that little box there. So, I mean, this is potentially a no trade zone for me. Even though it does have, the setup on the month, this is kind of like a doji uh outside candle here. I'm sorry, a doji fell two down. And it's already trying to fail back to the downside and below the 50% of that range of the box there that we just drew on a smaller time frame. So I would want to see it get out of the box to the upside above 1,088 to the downside below $1,002. Well, as of right now, it looks like it's trying to flag. It's trying to make that flag. And the flag kind of does something like that and then breaks out. It's like a bull flag almost, maybe. Let's go back up. CVS on the month, inside candle, 312 breakout there on the month. Looks like it did that today. The top of this candle will be the trigger entry above 79.90. It did that today, it looks like. Broke above that today. Hopefully, someone got into this monthly target above that to 84 even. Shit, I had levels on this already and didn't have an alert. For some, oh, okay, so I had a range on this, and my entry would be right now. Was that from the 4 hour? Yeah, so 4 hour consolidation box broke out, came back into the box, dumped, broke out of the box to the downside, so it created target points to the upside from the box breakout and target points to the downside from the box breakout. Now we're looking to see go back into the box and then which way does it want to come back out of the box. So it tried to come back out of the box, hit this target point here, came back into the box, came back out of the box, hit the target point there again, came back into the box. Now it's looking like it wants to break and trigger to the upside. And where do we think it's going to revisit? This target point right here that it created. And so price likes to go to destinations that it's visited before. And so looking for this to break and hold above 81.76 to trigger to the upside to potentially take out 84 on CVS. Mara on the month is a two down. Could potentially be a two down, two up reversal above $9.84 to take out 11.57. If not, let's see, from the low to where it closed at last month. Could potentially be a levels type setup underneath 837 to take it to 780. That's 780. 780. And then the low of the previous month being oh god, 666. Mark a beast. Being the low of the TP2. TP1 780, TP2 666 on Mara. If it holds below 837, if it breaks above 984, then we could potentially see 1157. On Mara, the magic marker. That's a tool called what is this? Epic Pen. I believe it's free, but they do have a paid version. Epic Pen by Tank Studios. PKE has full time frame continuity on the daily, weekly, and monthly. It could be headed to 30 if it continues to hold the $28 level. I'm not sure what this is. Park Aerospace Corporation. Jeez. Jeez. I wish I would have known back last year about this guy. I think I might have to put this on my watch list, but this is bullish, very bullish. It doesn't necessarily have a setup though. I mean, it's just been straight two up, two up, two up, two up, two up. Wowza. Schwowza. Um, it's been around for a while. Yeah, I don't necessarily see a setup. I mean, it could continue, but I don't. It's just it's bullish. It's not really giving you a pullback to get in if you're not already in this. But it's definitely something to watch. Um, Relatively cheap. I'm not sure what the options are like on this. Engages in the provision of solutions and hot melt advanced composite material. It operates through North America, Asia. I have no idea what that means. But yeah, I mean the chart looks good. Um, I wonder what the options look like. ISSC, Jesus. So this would have been good to get in around this right here. Um, Swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low box. Broke out of the box, came back into the box. So this is bullish above this level. Broke out, made a swing high, now created a target point. Broke back into the box, created an entry back above this swing high again, hit the target point, and it's still moving. Gotta look to the left to see if there's even a level that's that high. And so it looks like it's right there back at um, almost all-time highs. 29.58 was the next level. It looked like it gapped up. No, it didn't. It's just the candles was so small. But yeah, 29.58 is the all-time high. Looks like it's trying to take that out, but this would have been the area to buy it at last month upon the breakout and change of structure above this swing high here. Maybe even got a sexy entry from this swing high to this swing low and got it above that change of structure there with this big strong candle back in December. But he's already in the race and out of here. But it's still relatively cheap stocks with bullish momentum in the sector. Aerospace, it looks like. Is this an aerospace stock as well? ASTS went crazy today. So yeah, this might be an aerospace type of thing. I wonder why they're running into aerospace. Can I get the thing where it's down here? Yeah, aerospace and defense. Okay. So aerospace and defense. So it's a stock that I mentioned, I think, a long time ago. Black Sky is a satellite defense company. It looks like they did pretty well today as well. Um, Looks like it's trying to come out of a downtrend. potentially. This downtrend here, as we see on the daily, looks like it still needs a little bit of move to fully get below above that downtrend level, but we might want to keep an eye on these aerospace defensive stocks as we go into war. Huh. Yeah. What is it good for? Thoughts on Fastly? Key called it last week and it ripped today. Still opportunity. I do not watch Fastly. Drive Fastly, call me Jeff Gordon. Oh my God. And a black SS with the navigation. Jesus. Andale, mommy, yeah. Uh-oh. Let's see if we can swing high, swing low, breaking this structure right there. So today would have been an entry on this. I like to for it to retrace back down before I get in, but this would have been a nice entry above this change in structure. Today was really bullish for Fastly. Ah, and with this level here, and then maybe even this level here, with that being the target point, if we drew the box from this swing high to this swing low, and then use this swing high previously as target points, let's just hit the target. Um, then we have to look over to the left. I look over to the left to see places where price hasn't been yet. So we have a gap to fill all the way back from 2024 to this gap here up to 2314. It's in a big gap as of right now, so we could see up to 2314, which is right around here for the gap fill to the upside on Fastly. Fastly is also cheap. CVS is also in the gap. Okay. All right. So yeah, we got some nice solid plays. Definitely put some institution aerospace defensive stocks on your radar. There was two mentioned today. The two mentioned were the PKE, the ISSC, and then I'll throw one at you, HWM, and then the usual buddies, Northrop Grumman, NOG, NOG or NOC, RTX, Lockheed Martin, LMT, all of those. And then also, it's not aerospace, but it is a defensive AI company, Palantir, PLTR, and then also Black Sky, BKSY, for satellite defensive measures, ASTS, um, all of those could potentially be some things to look at for the wartime as they make a play into aerospace defense. Uh, ONDS, someone mentioned in the chat. But yeah, all of those aerospace defense stocks. I look over to the left. And so as you can see, I also have some rare earths. Jesus Christ. You Amy, USAR, MP, you. And those are the brightest of the bunch. Um, so we can check out eight. and that'll be oops, where I we can end on that one. AEHR. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. So swing high, swing low, box, swing high, swing low. Extenderamos. Break above this, swing high, change the structure. Breaks above it, swing high, created, becomes a target point. Breaks back down into the box, breaks back up, slightly closes above the box. Let me see. Let me see right there. Yeah, so slight close. There's your entry. Uh, last Friday was your entry. Target point hit. Don't know where it's going to go next. Look to the left at levels that it hasn't reached yet. So we're right here. So we got to look at all of this stuff above that blue line. Looks like it filled the gap. Trying to fill the gap. It's pretty much filled it there at 44.18. Next level to the top would be the swing highs or highs. And then let's say right there. So these will be your target points to the upside above where it is currently. It's not letting me do it. Do it till you're satisfied. Whatever it is, do it. No, that's not what I wanted you to do. Take me back. I thought it was a quicker way to do this. Stupid. I could have sworn it was a quicker way to do that. I thought that's what I was doing. What is the Anyway, all right, so we're back. So above where it is now, I did that charted on the 4 hour to see the box more clearly. Above where it is now, we had that gap filled to 44.18, which is a couple of cents. Target after that, 45.85, 48.20-ish, and then 49.85 on AEHR, AEHR, which is I guess the next bottleneck in the AI infrastructure. So the previous bottleneck was memory. And so AEHR and maybe similar stocks that provide some sort of bottleneck technology for in the AI infrastructure could pop off. So you want to see the other stocks that are in this sector that potentially provide for AI infrastructure and watch them. It's a chip testing tool for heating and cooling. Okay. Um, I don't know of any other company offhand that does something like that. I can't think of anything. So definitely keep track of this one. And do some research on the whole sector and see. It's got a lot of backlog. Okay. Yeah, so definitely keep this one on your radar. They definitely need heating and cooling. So that would be something that is you know, uh neglected as it expands. You have to keep the machines cooled so that they can perform efficiently or not explode. So they definitely probably are now saying, "Oh, okay, yes, we do need these cooling, and we need to." pay a premium for them. If there's a scarcity for it, then we just have to pay extra to make sure our data centers that we are building get their proper cooling and heating. I look over to the left. All right. So yeah, those are some excellent tickers that we mentioned there. Just want to draw your attention back to the levels up challenge that is happening this month. Again, it's going to be starting on March 29th. We're going to have different squads where we'll be scouting winning setups together. A friendly competition with each other. Do 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 do. Maybe some fast growth. And so you'll have a pre-built trading plan because we'll all be trading via the levels setup. We'll also have the position size calculator to help you get into your positions and calculate how much money you should be spending on these contracts. Also have a journal to keep track of all your data so that you can optimize your trading strategy, know your weaknesses, know your strengths, and use that to optimize your win rate. And then you'll also have mentor guidance by mentors like myself. We'll have daily meetups, um, private Discord channel that which we will be integrating into a website. It won't necessarily be a Discord channel, but it'll be something new and improved, making it easier for us as well as you all to interact with each other as well as interact with us. So you definitely want to get signed up for that when it is available because the spaces are limited, and we're not just letting any and everybody in. It's only going to be 100 seats, I believe, available. So you just want to make sure you take account of that and take that account of the advantages of that opportunity when it presents itself. So the starting amount for the challenge is around $500. Um, a maximum of 1,000. So that's how much you would want to start the challenge with. A lot of people started, with less, but the recommended amount is the $500. This has been brought to you by Teach.trade. Our founder, Kia Kelly, as you see on the screen there. Taylor Kia Kelly Hamilton, those are his accolades. Places to reach him on all social media platforms. Key levels, key levels, and Teach.trade. Other than that, that is the end of the session. Is it required to be able to monitor price action all day? No. No. If you're addicted to trading and the dopamine, a lot of people do that, but you don't want to become addicted to dopamine provided to you by selling options all day. Um, the most, how can I put this? Some of the greatest traders and a lot of the greatest traders wait for the setup to come to them. So they are not necessarily trading each and every day. Because the more you trade, the more opportunities you have to give the money back that you make to the market, and the more opportunities you have to lose money to the market. So what the best traders do is they wait for opportunity to present itself to them, and then they have all of their funds available in order to take the best advantage of those opportunities. Those opportunities, because you're waiting, will be more high probability because you'll be waiting for your A+ setup and not just chasing each and every trade that you see like a chicken with its head cut off, which will easily be cooked for dinner. So you don't want to be somebody else's dinner. What you want is for the trade to come to you. And so that will be require patience and waiting days, maybe hours, maybe sometimes even weeks for something that you charted to actually trigger your setup, and then you should and then have your money available for that setup to trigger and go all in on the position. So no, I wouldn't advise trading price action all day, every day. Um, that is a loony person's job. And we don't want to be crazy. We don't want to be addicted to the market. We want to use the market as a tool for financial wealth and advancement. And so we want to practice patience. We want to practice trading psychology. And too much of anything is bad for you, even charting and staring at charts all day, every day. Um, could become something that is detrimental to your mental as sometimes your financial status. All right. So hopefully I was able to help. Hopefully we were able to help with this new month charting. New month charting happens every new month. So I will see you all back here for the new month charting going into next month of April when that happens. I hope to see you all. And I hope you all have very successful trades up until then. Good night. And you all have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you all. Thank you all for showing up and coming prepared.